Yo, what's up? Amateur Lore here. We're back with teams you forgot almost made the college football playoffs part. I don't even know where we're at this point. I'm gonna keep this intro short since this video is already jam-packed as is, so like, sub, and let's get right into the video. Okay, so I'm feeling kind of quirky for this teams you forgot made the playoffs part 3 video. What do I mean by that? I honestly don't know. Anyway, cringe aside, I think it's about time we talked about the 2014 TCU Horned Frogs. This team has to be up there with the likes of 2016 Penn State and 2017 UCF for teams we all remember being so close but so far from the college football playoff. Me personally, I think this TCU squad might be on the top of this list. And by the time we're finished with this team's entry, I think you'll feel the same. So let's start it how we always do. Coming off of a pretty bad season in 2013, I'd say expectations were not that high for the Frogs outside of Fort Worth, Texas. Leading the program since 2000, we have in my opinion one of the GOATs of college football coaching, Gary Patterson, and the study trusted under center to man the ship was Trayvon Boykin, an explosive dual threat quarterback who would put up 3,900 passing yards with an additional 707 rushing yards. And speaking of rushing yards, leading the team in that category was running back Aaron Green, who would rack up a total of 922 yards on the season, and leading the receiving corps with just over 1,000 yards was Josh Dotson. Starting the season, unranked TCU would rattle off 3 straight wins against Samford 48-14, Minnesota 30-7, and SMU 56-0. 3-0 and ranked 25th in the entire country. TCU's first real test of the season was coming up as the 4th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners were coming into town.
In Fort Worth, Texas, and we have a battle between 2 top 25 teams as 4th-ranked Oklahoma comes into town to take on the 25th-ranked Horned Frogs of TCU. Here's the option. Boykin lost it and recovered by the Hornets. Here's the option. Cadillac, touchdown! On the ball. First down, play fake. Here's Knight again to throw. Wide open, Shepard. See you later. Shepard sprinting to the end zone. Touchdown, Sooners. B-Rod. Touchdown. Boykin. Over the middle. Touch. B-Rod in motion. Knight. Oh, picked off. Dawson. What a play. Paul Dawson. Touchdown, Horned Frogs.
After the impressive win against the Sooners 37-33, the now 4-0 Horned Frogs shot all the way up the rankings to the 9th spot in the latest AP polls. There wasn't really any time to rest though, as the following week TCU had yet another huge Big 12 matchup against one of the greatest offenses of the 2010s, the 5th-ranked Baylor Bears. I don't know what the buzz was around the time of this game because I was a little younger at the time, but I think it's safe to say this game played between Baylor and TCU would become an all-time classic, as I have been sparking up to watch the condensed version of this matchup at least 3 times a year for the last 5 years plus. Long story short, this game was an absolute banger.
So you can come by the river or come by land. And this is a fired up team that's number 5 in the country. And a Horned Frog team that came off an upset of Oklahoma and jumped all the way to again, they'll bring an extra man. Boykin's going to lay it out long. 2 men out there, and he's got him. Touchdown.
At the running back side.
Jefferson tweaked his hamstring this week. That's why he's not out there. Petty going deep on first down, and he's got it. And it's a touchdown. Antoine Goodley. White's first interception of the year. They fake the pitch. Boykin going to the end zone. And penalty markers, and also caught for the touchdown. Petty fires long. Man there. Caught. Touchdown. Needs 10. And throws an interception. Marcus Mallet going the other way. TCU touchdown.
Trying to come back in this situation.
Play action on 2nd and 9. Long ball streak on the sideline. 4th and 3. Boykin gonna loft one. Deep on the sideline. Broken up. He got it.
TCU fought so hard in one of my personal top 10 college football games of all time, but came up just short, losing the game with an insane final score of 61-58. I'm guessing the voters were very impressed by TCU's performance. I mean, who am I kidding? I think everyone was impressed by that match between Baylor and TCU. It was one of those early top 10 matchups that shouldn't have too much of an effect on your season outcome if you can finish strong, because it was such a good performance. At least I think. But yeah, the voters were impressed and TCU only fell back 3 spots and was now currently ranked at the 12th spot in the polls. This TCU schedule was like only working a 5-hour shift. There was no breaks, as 2 out of their next 3 games were against ranked top 20 conference opponents. TCU would obviously win all 3 games, beating 15th ranked Oklahoma State 42-9, dominating Texas Tech 82-27, and to finish this stretch off, a last-second walk-off field goal against the 20th ranked West Virginia Mountaineers. 8-1 ranked 6th in the country, the gauntlet that was TCU's schedule was coming to an end, but there was still one more test that was in the Horned Frogs' way. Their 5th 5th top 20 matchup in their last 6 games, the 7th-ranked Kansas State Wildcats. Both teams had playoff aspirations, but only one would leave with their dreams intact after this primetime Saturday matchup.
2nd down and 7. Play fake. Boykin in trouble. Dancing. Buying time. Boykin fires. Touchdown. The 30. Here's Waters. Lofting one up. He's got a receiver. It's caught. Lockett. Whoa. 70 big ones.
Route combinations and options, and he's taking them.
Boykin now runs it. Boykin looking for the end zone. Whoa. 1st down and 10 at the 35. Here's Green. Woo! Green! Woo! Green! Look at him go! Aaron Green! Down the sideline! Touchdown TCU!
Another top 15 win in the books for TCU, their 3rd win against a top 15 team and their 4th against a top 20 team. After the big win, TCU would move to the 4th spot in the AP polls, and were holding one of the 4 playoff spots heading into the tail end of the season. In the last 3 regular season games for the Horned Frogs, they would win a close one against Kansas, 34-30, 48-10 against Texas, and to finish up the season, they would absolutely slaughter Iowa State 55-3. Now we get to the controversial part of this entry. So finishing the season 11-1, the Frogs were in an odd position because in a cruel twist of fate, because this specific year, the Big 12 only had 10 teams in the conference, and I guess by NCAA rules, you need to have more than 10 teams in your conference to have a conference championship game, which I don't know how I feel about this rule. It sounds kind of dumb, but rules are rules, right? Long story short, because of this rule, TCU couldn't play during championship weekend, which more than likely would have been against a top 6 Baylor football team. And I'm not no psychic, I'm not J-Station, but I'd bet my money that the winner of this hypothetical Big 12 championship game would have made the playoffs, but unfortunately that isn't how things turned out this year for TCU, as they would finish the season ranked 6th in the final playoff rankings, right behind Baylor, who finished 5th. And to be honest, this was one of those situations where I don't really think they could have done any more than they already did. At least they won their bowl game though, right? So from a team who didn't make the college football playoffs because of some dumb 10-team conference rule or whatever, we travel all the way over to a team whose conference has the number 10 in it, the Big 10, in the 2016 Penn State Nittany Lions. And I know you guys have been making sure to let me know in the comments to cover this team, especially you, Jared Heffron 1414. Jokes aside, I've been meaning to take a look at this team for a while, so let's jump right in. Coming into the year, you could somewhat say Penn State wasn't expected to do much this year, as you have to remember, around this time, Penn State wasn't the guaranteed 10 wins in a New Year's 6 bowl game team that we all know and love today. As before 2016 and their previous 3 seasons, they struggled to reach 7 wins, but something special was brewing in Happy Valley under the new coach's tutelage. Steps were being taken to be a better football squad. Leading the program at head coach in his 3rd year was James Franklin, and at the most important position in sports, we had Tracy McSorley, who would pass for over 3,600 yards with 29 touchdowns, and at running back, of course, we had the college football legend himself, Saquon Barkley, who had a monster year, rushing for nearly 1,500 yards with 18 touchdowns, with an additional 402 receiving yards. But leading the team in receiving was Tom Brady's favorite receiver from his time in Tampa, Chris Godwin, who would finish just shy of a band with 982 receiving yards with 11 touchdowns. Also, shout out to Mike Gesicki. He was an NFL-bound tight end that was on this team as well. Starting the year, Penn State would split their first 2 games going 1-1, winning 33-13 against Kent State and losing 42-39 on the road at Pittsburgh. An early loss on the year in any sport, let alone college football, is never good. Penn State would need to figure it out soon, as their next 4 games were up against some pretty good teams such as Temple, Michigan, Minnesota, and Maryland.
And now, Trace McSorley deep down the middle, got a man wide open, Chris Godwin, touchdown. He's got it. Oh, his best run of the day. He's still going. Barkley, touchdown. And a handoff. Nice run down the sideline. Higdon, touchdown. Isaac gets it again. Touchdown. Trace McSorley from the gun. Steps up, throws. Was he past the line? He throws to Charles, complete, and he breaks free. Irvin Charles. Touchdown, Penn State. And Davis got it. Passing a touchdown and no interception so far for McSorley. This time it's Barkley. Cutting inside. Barkley, touchdown.
And 3, but Penn State drives down the field in just about 35 seconds. Saquon Barkley 45 yards. Barkley, 31 carries, 202 yards in that score.
Penn State would go 3-1 in that little 4-game stretch, winning against Temple 34-7, losing to 4th-ranked Michigan 49-10, and then 2 more wins against Minnesota in overtime 29-26, and a blowout against Maryland 38-14, bringing their record to 4-2. At this point in the season, most of the country had already forgot about Penn State, and those who were paying attention thought the Nittany Lions had absolutely zero chance of beating their next opponent, the 2nd-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. Regardless of the outcome of the game between rivals, everyone knew the atmosphere of this night game was going to be electric.
Involving number 2, undefeated Ohio State, and the Penn State Nittany Lions, who come in at 4-2 off bat. Rubin drives it, and it'll go through the end zone. Barrett from the pocket. Flips it short. Wow, the tight end just banging off people, spinning, staying alive, and scoring.
State coverage.
Barkley's okay. He's in the game. Blocking the blitz as McSorley runs for his life and loops it downfield. And the catch is made down. Play action. He's going to take a shot for the end zone again. Jump ball. Godwin's got a touchdown. Samuel running right. Cuts it back. Curtis Samuel in the clear. A foot race. They will not catch him, and the Buckeyes strike quickly. Gilligan has it snapped way over his head. The freshman has to get chase. He falls on it. He's far from 100%. Trying to tough it out. And now Barkley with a burst. Barkley gets away and gallops down inside the 40. He got again. Quarterback rolling out. Chased by Worley. And diving for the pylon. Touchdown. Hunter. Oregon State is spectacular as a weapon. But it's blocked. Blocked by Penn State. The ball. It right through J.T. Barrett. And Barrett right down the middle, almost intercepted. Super reliable inside of 40. This is from 45 and it's blocked. Lions scoop it up. Brad Haley will score.
Penn State's massive upset against the number 2 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes, 24-21, was a program-defining win for the Nittany Lions, bringing them from being unranked to the 24th spot in the latest AP polls. And something that I will always stand by and believe is that the football is a form of energy, and when the energy it is giving off is positive, it can do wonders for your team, as Penn State would keep the energy up in their next 2 matchups, rolling by Purdue 62-24 and Iowa 41-14, bringing their record to 8-2 and moving them all the way up in the polls to the 10th spot in the entire country. It wasn't a stretch to say that Penn State had possible playoff aspirations. All they had to do was win all their remaining games in hope that Michigan and Ohio State would cannibalize each other, allowing for Penn State to sneak their way into the Big Ten championship game. But before any thoughts of the playoffs, Penn State had to finish off their remaining 3 games against Indiana, Rutgers, and Michigan State strong, and most importantly, impressively for the voters, a part of the CFB committee.
Any of these players.
Lego, he's looking for the end zone. He's got a man, and it's there for the Another blitz coming. Lego can't take a sack. The ball pops out. Brandon Bell knocked it away into the end zone. That's a touchdown.
Nothing. And then it's McSorley to Mark Allen. Mark Allen making some people miss.
McSorley off play action. Pumps once. He's looking end zone. Chris Godwin. That's a Penn State touchdown.
Shot.
Instead, they'll run it inside the 10, inside the 5, and into the end zone.
After finishing the regular season with 3 decent wins against Indiana 45-31, Rutgers 39-0, and Michigan State 45-12, 10-2, ranked 7th in the country, Penn State's Big Ten championship game hope would all fall on the outcome of the Michigan versus Ohio State game, as both of the blue blood programs coming into the game had 1 conference loss, and if Ohio State could win versus Michigan, Penn State would sneak their way into the Big Ten championship game. Fortunately for Penn State, the ref of the game had a massive parlay that only needed Ohio State to win, as I think we can all agree that 4th and 1 call was a little sketch. Don't hate me, Buckeye fans, just calling it as I see it. Regardless, Penn State was in and was facing off against the 6th-ranked Wisconsin Badgers, and a win here would make it extremely tough for the committee to keep the Nittany Lions out of the playoffs.
Left for Tennessee, took over full time. 2nd down and 5. Clement now outside with a burst of speed. Down the sideline, Clement needs 1 block. Can he get it? Clement! McSorley field the deep ball, and it is... Oh, caught! Third down and 1. Oh, bad snap. McSorley hustling. Can he hold on? Loose. Picked up. Wisconsin. Conley. Touch. They give it to him again. Ogunbowale. Touchdown. Timeouts remaining. McSorley. Again to the sideline. Caught. Blocked. No. Sprinting. Touchdown, Nittany Lions. Where Penn State takes over. 1st and 10 at the 30. McSorley to throw it. Goes deep down the field. Caught. Blocked it again. Racing. Touchdown, Nittany Lions. They give it to him. McSorley in the end zone. Boatman touchdown. Clement. Did he get it? Stop. Penn State holds with 1:01 to go. Grant Haley.
Just like how the nifty Lions managed to come back against Ohio State when their backs were against the wall and the season was on the line, Penn State would claw their way back and defeat Wisconsin 38-31, winning the Big Ten title outright for the first time since 1994. As in the year 2005 and 2008, they would share the conference title with Ohio State. 11-2, Penn State had finished the regular season with a 9-game winning streak. All that was left was waiting for the final college football playoff rankings to see where our boys in blue and white would finish. When selection day came, Alabama would be ranked number 1, Clemson number 2, Ohio State number 3, and Washington number 4. And Penn State would finish just outside the top 4 with the 5th spot. I could see a world where Penn State replaces Ohio State and Washington moves to the 3rd spot, while Penn State takes the 4th spot. I mean, they won their conference, beat some decent teams, and they beat the team who got in instead of them. But I guess the voters in the committee saw something special in Ohio State. I don't know. Okay, so you know how we ended the last section with the 2016 Big Ten Championship game? Let's fast forward a year to 2017 and swap the teams around to talk about the Wisconsin Badgers. You guys have been making sure to let me know in the comments how close this 2017 Wisconsin Badgers squad was to making it to the playoffs. So I decided to take a look. Coming into 2017, I shouldn't have to tell you that this team had high expectations for this upcoming season. As if you were paying attention, you would remember from just like 2 minutes ago that in 2016, they made it all the way to the Big Ten Championship game, but came up just short against Penn State. Anyway, let's get into the squad. Leading the team at head coach was all reliable Paul Chryst, and coming in at quarterback with a legendary last name was Alex Hornibrook, who would throw for over 2,600 yards and 25 touchdowns. At running back, we have the legend himself, Jonathan Taylor, who would finish the year with just shy of 2,000 yards on the ground. But if you add his receiving yards to his total, he easily surpassed 2K. And finally, leading the team in receiving, Troy Fugamali with 547 yards. Opening up the 2017 college football season, the Badgers would easily win their first 3 games against cupcake opponents such as Utah State 59-10, Florida Atlantic 31-14, and BYU 40-6. 3-0 ranked 10th in the country. Big Ten conference play was coming up, and the Badgers had no plans on slowing down for anyone on their road to the college football playoffs, as they would beat conference foes Northwestern 33-24 and Nebraska 38-17. Now 5-0 and ranked 6th in the country, Wisconsin had their sights set on conference rival Iowa, as if they could beat them, then their side of the Big Ten would be all but theirs. But before they got a chance to dance with Iowa, they needed to defeat the teams that stood in their way, such as Purdue, Maryland, Illinois, and Indiana.
Injured his last play of last week as Taylor slips through an opening, and Taylor into the secondary. Jonathan Taylor, can he take it the distance? He can! Touchdown! Play action. Hornibrook looking for the end zone.
Wisconsin rushes 4 and still gets to Bordenschlager to force the interception. This one's headed back for a Wisconsin touchdown with TJ Edwards. They bring on their bigger running back, Bradrick Shaw. He takes the fake, and with some misdirection,
vacated the premises. 3rd and goal. Hornibrook, it's a throwback screen. Blockers in front. Touchdown.
Taken up. He was questionable all week. Was out there, play action. Hornibrook has a man wide open, an easy touchdown. Version. Here's the sweep to Taylor on the cutback to the 25. Now breaks to the outside, heading for Paybert. Touchdown, Jonathan Taylor.
Wisconsin was now sitting at 9-0, ranked 8th in the country. After conference wins against Purdue 17-9, Maryland 38-13, Illinois 24-10, and Indiana 45-17. You also might have noticed that the Badgers somehow dropped in the rankings. Well, that might have been because of the lack of big games that they played so far this season. But that would all change as their next 2 matchups were against the upper echelon of the conference, 20th ranked Iowa and 24th ranked Michigan. If they could win both these games, they would pretty much clinch a spot in the Big Ten Championship game and virtually be 1 win away from the college football playoffs.
Golly, the key guy right here.
Hornibrook.
intercepted. Josh Jackson does it again. Pick six to start the game. Here on first down. And they come with the end around with Pryor. Well blocked inside the 10 and score it. Play action. Hornibrook steps into it. Corner of the end zone. Fight for it. The most of it on 3rd and 18. And he will check down. And it is picked off. Josh Jackson. Are you kidding me? He can do no wrong. Here. Looking to just fall on it. And now a fight for the ball, and picking it up is Jacobs. Jacobs is running it in. Hornibrook to the end zone, and that is caught for a touchdown.
Nelson lets it take a bounce. With guys at midfield, he picks it up. And Nelson gets down the sideline. Nelson still on the go. Watch Nick, the quick Nelson. Touchdown, Wisconsin to the backfield. And they give it to the up back Ben Mason. There, 3rd down and 16. Touchdown, Wisconsin. And they run the reverse with Pryor. Pryor with a block. Pryor to the end zone. Pryor, touchdown, Badgers.
After the Badgers' 2 biggest wins of the season so far over Iowa, 38-14 and Michigan 24-10, Wisconsin would finish their regular season off with a win over Minnesota 31-0, bringing their record to 12-0, and their ranking in the final college football playoff rankings before championship weekend to the 4th spot in the entire country. All Wisconsin had to do was win their last game, which was against the Big Ten East Division champions, the 8th-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. A win here, and Wisconsin would make their first college football playoff appearance in program history.
Joel Klatt with you as Urban Meyer huddles up his kickoff team, which has had some problems this season.
They've kicked the ball out of bounds 7 times 6 quarters of the season.
Hornibrook delivers to the sideline, intercepted. Hurt my feet.
Right now, expect him to get a little rhythm.
First down to the 16 on Barrett going. Oh, it's caught. McClory. Burst of speed. See you later. Touchdown Buckeyes, 84. Barrett sprints out of the pocket. Squares his shoulders. Throws. Picked off. Touchdown. Van Gink. Barrett to the far side. Ball caught. Paris Campbell. Watch out. He's a burner. Campbell down the sideline. Campbell. Touchdown. And he'll get it off in time. Weber slashing forward. And Wisconsin says he fumbled. And it's go one. James dives. Your screen. Fumagalli in the slot at the bottom. Hornibrook delivers. Intercepted, Ohio State. Damon Webb.
Unfortunately, Wisconsin would just fall short in the Big Ten championship game against the Ohio State Buckeyes, destroying all of Wisconsin's playoff hopes in an instant. I do want to finish this video on a more positive note, so I will mention that this was Wisconsin's best season in program history since 2006, when they would finish 12-1 with an Orange Bowl victory. Which is weird because this 2017 Wisconsin team made the Orange Bowl as well. And in somewhat of an Easter egg, they played and beat a team I covered in the last Teams You Forgot Almost Made the Playoffs video, the Miami Hurricanes. Just thought I'd share that. Anyway, comment more teams you want to see me cover. I'm out.